I don't like the buzzwords that are used. And I don't think they prove anything. So I'm going to make an argument. You don't have to listen to it. But it's an argument, and calling people extremists is not a fucking argument. I'm about to prove it. So, extremism, and it has its root words into radicalism, which is the quality and state of being radical, and doctrines and principles of radicals. And if you read what radical is, there's a couple definitions, but I'm pretty sure you're going to look for the relating to fundamental. But physicists call things fundamental. A very different from usual traditional. This is the key. Very different from usual or traditional. That's extreme. So that means that atheism is extreme. That means that transgenderism is extreme. That means that being gay is pretty extreme. Or was it extreme to be Christian in the first place? Because the country that's Christian would call that extreme, and vice motherfucking versa. So the right is extreme to the left, and the left is extreme to the right. And so my motherfucking point is, it's not an argument to call anyone extreme. And why am I making this point? Because of the fucking Patriot Act. In the Patriot Act, if you call someone a terrorist, you can effectively remove their constitutional motherfucking rights. So when somebody calls somebody extreme, like Joe Biden or Trump, unless there's a specific quadrant. So saying MAGA supporters are extreme, that's a lot fucking worse than saying Antifa is extreme, than saying the KKK is extreme, than saying not Islam, but Islamic terrorists and Islamic radicals are extreme. Christians are not extreme. Portions of Christianity are extreme. I feel deeply about this. People will question and say, you know, there's something inside you, Josh, and that's why you're defending Christians. No! That's not why I'm defending Christians. I have fucking family that are Christians, and I believe they have the right to dispute the fucking government. And inherently, I'm an anarchist. Inherently, internally, I reject the government, but I'm not radically against the government. I'm not, and I believe in the rejection of the government. I believe in the rejection of the government. And there are countries where if you reject the government and the people called rejecting the government are called extreme, those people end up being dictators. Regular people. Because what I meant was, if you call someone extreme, you can then therefore redefine that as terrorism. For disagreeing with the government. So when people use buzzwords, including you, and call people extremists, you can't fucking prove it. I'm sorry, my heart's beating, and you might not want to talk to me anymore after this. But you can't fucking prove it, because all it is a fucking buzzword. It's an ad hominem. 400 people invaded the Capitol. Yay! Guess what? That's not the only time that's happened in history. That's not the only time that's happened in history. Nobody called the entire left a fucking extreme in 1991 when they fucking ran into the Capitol. Nobody called Martin Luther fucking K extreme when he walked across the country to get to JFK with 1 million plus people. They're called extreme because they question an election. And I'm not saying the election was coordinated by Joe Biden. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't think there's a big coordination that happened. I'm just saying there was fraud. I'm not saying that contorts to his absolutely being president, but to be fucking frank and to be with the common sense, logical fucking side, how did Joe Biden get more votes than Obama? I'm not blaming Joe Biden for his fucking votes. I'm not blaming Trump for his fucking votes. I'm not saying that there wasn't interference in Russia and the election, and vice motherfucking versa. I'm not saying there wasn't interference with China and Joe Biden. Of course there was interference with China and Joe Biden. Why wouldn't there be? Trump was wrecking their shit. So I don't have to be a big defender to see the objective. I don't have to be a Trump supporter to see what the fuck was going on. Trump was making deals with China that hurt China, and therefore that's why there was 5 million fucking ballots for Joe Biden. So it's not a huge jump to make, especially when his son has $5 billion fucking dollars in China. It's not a huge jump. It's not a conspiracy. It's a fucking fact. It's like calling Rothschild Mayer, the leader of the Illuminati, a conspiracy when it's in history. It's like saying the Masons is a conspiracy when that's in history. It's like saying George Washington being a Freemason, putting the compass and the G down, is a conspiracy when George Washington was a open motherfucking Freemason. It's like saying the dollar has nothing to do, the $1 bill has nothing to do with the Illuminati when there's a fucking pyramid and a fucking eye on the back of it. It's like saying 1913 never fucking happened. When in 1913, what I mean is the fucking Federal Reserve reserved the dollar. Made a centralized bank. That fucking happened with Woodrow Wilson. It's like saying Ike never fucking contributed to the nuclear fucking bomb that blew up Japan. So for me, if you're an atheist, the biggest defeater of Christianity is not science. It is history. It is philosophy. History and philosophy are the biggest contenders against Christianity. Real history, real philosophy, not science. Not science, because science doesn't care what you believe. Science only cares about testing things that you believe. History cares about what you believe. Philosophy cares about what you believe. And to conclude, even if you call me an extremist, I vouch, and people are going to say, well, why do you stand for the fucking individual, Joshua, when you could stand for the collective, which is government? I vouch and say that the republic was meant to defend the individual and many individuals. The individual is the collective. One person per person is the collective. Defending the smallest of them all is defending them all. That's the republic. And if you ever wanted an atheist philosopher to be president, you're completely destroying that. And that's actually what I want. I want an atheist philosopher at some point to be president. I want the Plato experiment to kind of happen. The one where there's a philosopher king, sort of. Not that he gets to be in office forever till he dies, but that he gets to be in office for 8 years. That's